Welcome to your 12 sign horoscopes for Mars in the sign of Cancer 2026. I'm Everett Curdy. If you have your natal chart pulled up at astro.com, and you can find your moon and rising sign, you can find your sun sign, know your sun sign already. Go back and watch the previous video for Mars and Cancer. Mars and Cancer is between August 12th through September 29th. So you want to go back and see that previous video to get a better, more in-depth understanding of Mars and Cancer. And the timestamps will be in the description box below so that you can go to whatever your sun, moon, and rising is and find that information. And be able to navigate this video very quickly and fluently. So now let's start out with Aries first of all. I'm going to go in order from Aries to Pisces. Now Aries, you want to focus on what makes you feel secure inside of your own body during this time of Mars and Cancer. What truly brings you that sense of security and groundedness? What makes you feel serene and calm and grounded and this and that? What brings you that sense of, I can relax now, instead of, moving all the time, instead of being so active with, with all that you're doing. Can you slow down and be calm and be here and now and be grounded? You can trust your instinct, because the Aries acts on its impulses, acts on what feels right in the moment. It acts on all these kind of things. It can, we can trust your instinct to act and then move in certain ways based off of that instinct, not basing it entirely on logic necessarily, but basing it on that, that instinct that just says, this is the right thing to do, this is the right way to go. At this particular time, you feel like it is instinctually right for you to to move in this direction. Feeling like this path will be the right path to go down because of what my instincts are telling me, because of what my soul is telling me in this way. And then you may want to focus on self-care during this time. Nourish who you are. Don't always act so much. Don't always act so quickly. And just focus on self-nourishing, self-care. Meditating, cooking, being in your garden, planting, doing all these things with whatever you're doing, really taking care of the beautiful, precious soul that you are, so not always moving, not always doing so actively, but taking care of yourself, and that's really the message for you at this time. Now Taurus, don't always push for things to go your way. It's important to let the universe carry out. It's important to allow spirit to take control of the wheel, to take control of life for a time, to not always have to be the one in charge, have to be the one making things happen, to be the one that just pushes for everything to happen just all at once, but also to just surrender, relax, trust in spirit. Because you're not always meant to be doing everything in every which way. You're meant to be the co-creator of your life. You're meant to take your time and allow spirit to take over and allow spirit to help you create the life that is beyond your ego desires, but is aligned with your soul desires and your dreams. So you may want to focus on not always being the one in charge, not always being the one pushing, but focusing more on surrendering. And then where can you bring more peace in relationships? Where have people been deeply aggressive? And I think this aggression comes from this insecurity of not being patient enough to wait it out, to have patience, to have security. And so where does more peace need to be brought into the situation? Not so much aggressive assertion, not so much difficulty when it comes to all things like this. So, and then you may feel like your material prosperity or material desires to move along a certain path in life, feeling like this is getting stomped on, feeling like your material prosperity is getting stomped on and walked all over by these authority figures that want to control you, that want to have, their way and want to keep you from expanding, evolving, doing all this kind of thing. So, where can you put yourself first and focus on, this is my prosperity, this is what I do best, this is what I really, really enjoy doing for my soul. I feel that it is right to build this prosperity and, do all these things. So I feel like building this material prosperity will really, really help me out in great detail, in depth in my life. So, where do you need to focus on being yourself, putting yourself first, and making the money that you want to, because you feel worthy of making this money. You feel worthy of working for the things that you want and need in your life. And that's really, what it comes down to with life and the energy of Taurus. Now, Gemini, where are you lying to yourself? Making the excuse of changing your mind, of not sticking to one thing, because Gemini can sort of go all over the place. It can change its mind at times really, really easily. It can make all these excuses to really, really make it very, very difficult for it to stick to one thing and to focus on one thing. The Gemini wants to always change itself, and it's not always the easiest at sticking to something long term and sticking to a promise, sticking to a goal. It's all about being true to yourself and sticking to what you desire, sticking to what you believe, sticking to what is true for you in that kind of way. And then getting to the truth of your body to determine what is true to stick with, what is true to stick on, what feels right in your body, what feels good in your body, what feels like the right thing to stick with in your body, because it just feels like the right direction to go in. And then anything you're sticking to is very, very important not to be naive with this kind of thing. It's very, very important for Gemini. Not to be, very naive, that knowing that all that glitters is not gold. It's very, very important to consider that going deep into something, seeing the real true colors of something, not seeing just the surface level picture, but because Gemini can get caught in the surface, the light-filled stuff, not really, really having the integrity to go deep and find out the truth of what's going on. So focusing on delving into the truth is really what you're being invited to focus on during this time when it comes to sticking to something that really, really has integrity, sticking to something that really, really has, weight, and that, that you can rely on, that you can always stick with in your life, for whatever you are doing. Now, Cancer, how can you, instead of taking care of everybody else, because Cancer can tend to be the mother of everybody else, how can you take care of yourself? How can you tend to yourself, take care of yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually? Taking care of yourself with giving yourself a nice bath, giving yourself a nice meal, giving yourself all these wonderful things for the purpose of self-care. And so, how can you take care of yourself in this regard, with whatever you're doing. That's the very, very first thing. Now, how are your emotions coming from wounding, where you're feeling all these feelings that it feels so intense, so so alive, or whatever, and they're not coming from your real sense of self. They're not coming from your true sense of being with who you really are on a deep emotional level. So, how are these emotions keeping you from feeling grounded, feeling good, feeling content? How are these emotions keeping you from keeping you from your sense of security, from your sense of peace? And where do you need to just allow yourself to feel these feelings instead of just pushing them away, instead of just reacting and being moody and being reactive from a wounded place instead of a healed place, instead of from an integrated place of you feeling your feelings and doing all this, and where you're letting others win and needing to assert yourself. With allowing others to have their way, with having, I had this need, and not you being able to take care of yourself with having to take care of everybody else. So where do you need to stand up for yourself and be that assertive force of strength to not let other people win in conflict, but to assert yourself and to win and have the confidence and have the empowerment that you can win, that you can win against conflict, that you can do all this, that you can do all this really, really well, and that you can, win in terms of conflict, of what is going on with that. Now, Leo, what do you truly believe in, and what are you willing to fight for? This is very, very important for Leo when it comes to their beliefs, when it comes to their philosophy, really, really being very strong with themselves when it comes to what they believe, what they truly want to stand up for themselves with. What are you willing to stand up for yourself with, Leo? Because Leo is a strong fire sign. One of the things about Leo is that it holds true to its principles, its beliefs. It holds true to what it believes and what it's willing to fight for. So, what do you truly believe, Leo, and what are you willing to stand up for? And then there's a desire to protect those who are closest to you in your life because of what you believe, because of your defending those who are closest to you, and you may view them as an extension of who you are. You may view people as, loving extensions of who you are, with, who they are on a soul level. You may view them as, as love, as being love, as a force of love, as a doctrine of love. And you may have this desire to be very, very focused on protecting those that are close to you, protecting those that you love very, very deeply in your life, and really standing up for them. And because you feel very, very loving of them, you have a heart-centered love for them, you feel deep love for them in your heart. And then were you being overly defensive toward those you love? When you need to let down your defenses and loosen your grip and open up? Leo's a fire sign. It's a fixed sign, so it can defend itself, defend its feelings, and defend all that it's doing. So where do you need to where do you need to focus on letting down your defenses and being very, very open-hearted, open-minded towards those people that you deeply love, deeply care about, and not being overly argumentative, not being overly, argumentative in that way. So, that is Leo. Now, Virgo. Don't get up in your head, Virgo. It's very, very important to trust your inner knowing, trust your gut, trust your intuition, because Virgo can easily get wrapped up in its mind, wrapped up in the logical impressions, the logical dealings of what goes on, what happens, what, this and that. And instead of trusting your inner knowing, trusting what you know to be best about yourself, trusting what you know to be true about yourself. It's important to trust your intuition, and not have your logic always take over, because your logic is not like your intuition. It's for very limited, it's for a very small self. Your intuition is your bigger self, your most authentic self, because it points to what feels right and what is at that time. So, what limiting serving structures are keeping you from freedom? What limiting structures, having to, with having to serve, with having to be there, with having to take care of everybody else, with having to be the one who makes a difference in all those kind of ways, keeps you from feeling free, keeps you from feeling liberated. And where do you need to let this go? Where do you need to be free to just be who you are, go after your desires, go after what you want, go after what you feel makes you feel content, makes you feel good, and well-versed in your soul and in your spirit. And you may not feel as energetic to care for others. You may want to rest and take care of yourself during Mars in Cancer. You may want to rest and tend to yourself and tend to what you do best, and taking care of yourself, taking care of your body, taking care of your mind, taking care of your health, taking care of your body, taking care of your eating and nutrition, and whatever area of your health you can take care of. So you may want to take care of who you are, with your intuitive self, with whatever you're doing, and whatever you're doing in that regard. So you may not feel as energetic. And this may be a good thing, because it's telling you to rest. It's telling you to not always be burdened to having to serve and having to show up for others when you feel depleted, when you feel drained, when you feel like you can't go on, when you feel like you're trying to serve and you feel like you don't feel like you have enough energy, enough vitality to continue doing this. And that's where the rubber has to hit the road for you, Virgo. Now, Libra, don't people please when you know that it's not good for you. It's time to focus on yourself, time to focus on your own desires, your own dreams, your own goals, your own wants, your own needs, and focus on what you do best. Focus on what you love for yourself, and what truly makes you feel content and special, and what makes you feel good. Focusing on what makes you feel good and makes you feel uplifted. It makes you feel all these beautiful feelings. It's time to focus on time to focus on yourself, Libra. Now, passive aggressiveness with saying the word fine. Where are you saying the word fine is an F word? And where do you need to stand up for yourself? Where do you need to not people please and say, no, I'm going to be my sovereign self. I'm going to be true to who I am. I'm going to do what I want, what I desire, and I don't care about anybody else. Being true to yourself. Okay, being true to who you are, with what you want to do in your own life, with what feels right for you to do. That is really the key for you during this particular time, during all that you're putting and investing and doing, with not people pleasing and doing all this really easily. So don't get up with your difficult decisions. Trust your gut when it comes to whatever decision you're making. Trust your gut when it comes to whatever choice that you're making in your life, and go after that gut. Go after that intuition. Go after what you feel is right for you on that intuitive level, and that's you can really thrive at this particular juncture, at this particular time in your life, is not relying overall on your head, your logic, but trusting your intuition, trusting your gut, and not needing others for validation, not needing to rely on other people for validation with whatever you're doing. So that's very, very important for you, Libra. Now, Scorpio, what pushes your buttons? What makes you feel more irritable than usual? This is where you need to stop, draw the line, take a break, self-care, meditate, stop all the action, stop all the aggression, stop all the anger, and detach. Spend some time alone. Spend some time with yourself. And, be true to who you are in that way. And, really, really focus on, focusing on your irritability, focusing on nurturing your irritability. So that you don't feel more irritable than usual. Focusing on that is very, very important. Focusing on nurturing yourself, focusing on not allowing your buttons to get pushed, not allowing your whole self to get pushed, with who you are, and what you are doing, really. That is really, really good to keep in mind with you, Scorpio. And then, you will stand up, necessarily speaking, for those whom you love. You'll stand up for those that you care about, and you will act in a noble way during this time. It's very, very easy for you to want to stand up because Scorpio is so devoted, so loyal to those that it loves. It loves it to the ends of the core, loves it to the ends of the meat and bone. So you will stand up for these people in a noble, kind of loving way, and that's what you will do, is standing up for these people lovingly, caringly, all that kind of thing. And then now it's time to not get stuck in the low step, but time to focus on your frequency of peace. I'm trying to focus on your frequency of feeling peace, and time to focus on peace, feeling contentment. What brings you inner peace on a soul level, Scorpio? It brings you inner peace on that, on that soul level. That's what you may need to focus on at this time. Is not falling prey to low vibrations, not falling prey to what drains your energy, but focusing on peace, focusing on goodness, all these kind of things like that. Focusing on so really, really focusing on feeling peaceful, feeling content, feeling grounded. And what brings you peace, Scorpio? What brings you peace? Because now Mars in Cancer is asking you to easily focus on that and nurture that and make that a very prominent thing that you're doing in your life. Now, Sagittarius, you may feel fiercely, short-fused tempers. You may have. It's important to So, you may want to defend your truth. Just want to defend it. You just want to let go, and you want to be very, very determined in your defense against what you desire. Be open-minded. That's all that I can say to you, Sagittarius, is being open-minded to whatever that truth is, being open-minded to, whatever, you're doing. Now, instead of chasing, traveling, exploring, focus on caring for your body, focusing on making yourself feel content with, your own body, your own psyche, your own soul, and your own feeling of contentment, your own feeling of goodness, and calm, and peace, and all these kind of things, focusing on that, focusing on staying home, caring for your body, keeping yourself nice and dry, and yeah, that's that's really what I can say for Sagittarius personality. Now Capricorn, you may feel not feeling as motivated to climb up the mountain. Time to you may not feel as motivated to. You may feel more motivated to rest now. You may feel more motivated to slow down. To slow down. You're being invited to slow down at this time and not always push and push and push and climb the mountain so hard and do all these things so hard and yeah. So okay, so that's what you're being invited to do at this time, is to slow down and focus on yourself. Do not care about everybody else. Now, focus on not being all your burdens and responsibilities. What are those? What are those burdens? What are those burdens and responsibilities? Where do you need to find peace within yourself? Where do you need to find contentment and happiness and everything like that? Where do you need to feel at peace with yourself on a soul level, Capricorn? This is what I invite you, is to to find peace, because we can so often look for peace outside of ourselves and not finding it within. So it's about finding inner peace. Some of you said about finding inner peace, Capricorn. Because that can really be a really good thing for you, is to feel inner peace and find inner peace with with what you're doing. Yeah. So focusing on that is really huge for you. Handing over your burdens to spirit and not having to do this whole life alone, not having to live this world alone. I want to say to Capricorn, you don't have to work so hard. This Mars and Cancer is about taking time out for yourself, nurturing yourself, and not working so hard, not working so laboriously, but taking time out, nourishing yourself with whatever you can do to nourish yourself, whatever you can do to take care of yourself. I would really focus on that during this time of Mars in Cancer. So that's what I would say for Capricorn. Now for Aquarius, maybe you feel restricted by authority figures in your life. Maybe it's time to free yourself, to free. So maybe where do you feel limited by authority figures? Where do you feel limited by people in high positions of power? Focus on nurturing, focus on contentment, focus on getting yourself into a better, calmer place with authority figures and making yourself more content and chided with authority figures. Or whatever the word is, I didn't even know if chided is the right word to use. But, and not having to be so defensive about your ideas, not having to be so rigid about your ideas and your beliefs over the spirit. And, with, whatever you're doing, with, with your beliefs, how can you surrender these beliefs over to what spirit is asking you to do? How can you let go and be calm, be peaceful, be grounded, be all those things? And then how can you free yourself from any constraints? Any constraints such as authority figures to people in power that seem to hold you back from your freedom, seem to hold you back from your autonomy, going your own way, feeling free to be, in that sense of the, of the word, we need to let go and focus on freedom and peace. Now, Pisces, how can you flow and be adaptive and focus on long-term structures to support your flow? What are those long-term structures that help you to flow and help you to be more content and help you to be more flowing and easy and graceful and all this kind of thing? So, where can you flow, adapt, trust your intuition, be true to yourself, do all those kind of things, Pisces, with whatever you're doing. And then, who do you love and protect from your soul? Who really, who really matters to you, in your life? Who do you, who do you love and want to protect from, in your soul self, in your soul self, in your very, very being. Who do you want to protect? Who do you truly care about? Because Pisces is such a compassionate, such a caring soul, and really, really focused on what truly matters to you is really, really important to consider at this time, and do all of that really, really easily with, with all you're doing and all you're doing and all you're doing. So focus on who you, what you love, who you love, how you're going to show up for who you love, and how you're going to be that force of good and force of compassion for whoever is in your life, Pisces. And trust your intuition, trust your gut, go with what feels right. Because Pisces is a deeply intuitive sign, and when it can do this really, really easily with all that it is doing, then it can go very, very far. So Pisces is an intuitive sign. So don't overly rely on your logic, don't overly rely on your mind. But trust your intuition, and doing all of that is very, very important for you at this time, Pisces. Thank you for watching. Bye for now. This has been Ultra Zodiac Signs for Mars and Cancer. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.